All right, let's call the meeting to order at 6:00 PM. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Aaron Moran,
Here.
Chris Zellner,
Here.
Joe Zisselsberger,
Here.
Kristen Runge,
Here.
Nyla Fry,
Here.
Jack Heineman,
Here.
Sam Kaufman.
Here.
All right, next item on the agenda is confirmation of open meeting compliance.
I can confirm that the draft agenda was published in the Waunakee Tribune on 2/13. The final agenda was posted in all three official posting locations on 2/12. And the final agenda and packet were made available online on 2/12. Anybody in the audience, if you're interested in public comment, please be sure you fill out the white form for me prior to that agenda item. And for those interested in public hearing, there's a purple form up there. And we'll give you a call as soon as it's your turn.
All right, and then it is time for public comment.
And the first one we have is Ann Helt at 214 K Drive, Waunakee.
Sorry.
That's okay. There's a microphone. If you just want to hold this kind of close to you and then you can.
Yeah,
You're good, nice.
One thing. Go ahead, you're up.
oh, really?
Yep.
You want to get rid of me, huh?
I know.
Probably don't.
And you can remain seated
don't-
if you
I
want.
don't-
If you would like.
Just talking.
Yeah, I couldn't stand anywhere very long.
So talk into that thing, I think.
Oh, is that it? Well, I guess everybody knows I'm Ann Hill. I also, was village president, or first I started out as a trustee back in the 70s, first part of the 70s. And then I was the president of the village. And for up into the 80s. And, my husband also was a trustee before that, before I was there. And I enjoyed every bit of it. I hope you guys do too. Anyway, this is my son, one of my sons, Dennis. And we were coming here for a reason, to see if we can get some answers to our questions. Because back in June 7th, 2024, in the Waunakee Tribune was a article about, wow, the village of Waunakee's water has PC in it, which I believe everybody knows what it is. And it could make harm to cancer or liver. Well, I thought, holy mackerel. So I guess somebody read it to me and I said, oh my God. I said, and it had come from, they figured out it had come from this dry cleaning business, in which they had that in it. And of course, down the way, that dry cleaning business was about just in our backyard, a few places up. And also, when they shut the well down, that water that come right straight through us all the time was we were drinking all this water, and we were only 2,000 feet away from that well that they shut down. So this really concerned both of us, or all of us, I guess. Anyway, then they decided to shut the well down, and they started doing testing. It was testing in the both. Dennis has a duplex, and I live in there, and we what you got? We yeah. Then we thought, oh, what the heck we're gonna do? So we did come to the board up here in 2024 and told them, hey, we want to know what's going on. We're really concerned. So then they did testings, about 3 testings, and not right away, but every once in a while they do a testing, go in the basement and whatever they had to do. 3 times they did this in different times. And I'm a horse. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And so then we thought, oh my God, we drink all this water, and we also water all the garden plants with this, the grass. Huh?
Ask them your questions.
I asked too many questions.
No, ask them your questions.
Oh, is it time to ask questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now we're trying to figure out what's gonna happen here today, and we sure hope, it's 2 years has gone by. But way back in 2018, this PEC had been noticed. And why in the hell did they do with it at that time is what I cannot understand. But anyway, as it sits here now, we're waiting to see what we get for an answer. And that's over almost 2 years now that we've been waiting. Okay, I guess Dennis, you
Okay.
want to say something?
Well, is it my turn?
Yes.
I'll stand up, okay.
So this is Dennis Helt at 214 K Drive, Waunakee.
Yeah, I did ask you questions. Like she said, we have behind that. Right over here.
Oh, Dennis.
Okay, sorry. We live behind St. Vinny's, right over here. And when the heavy rain comes, there's a river that goes all the way under St. Vinny's, all the way past us. So there's about two houses on the north side and two houses on the south side, duplexes, that get this water. And I was kind of wondering if the company that's gonna clean this up has done any kind of testing on that. But on the other hand, I hear that from Summit's lawyer who owned the property, and they still have responsibility for anything off-site as far as I can tell. And they said that they would come in and test in the spring before planting time, because last year they offered me money not to plant the garden. So, because I said, okay, well, for a year, let's do that. And it was very cordial. It was Don Gallo, the lawyer for them. And so I was just kind of wondering if this happens and if it is poisoned, or do they know how far the poison went? Then will they be cleaning us up too? Can they save some time and go with the other tests that the Summit gives and save some time and clean it all up at once? Or I don't know how it works, but that's just kind of what I'm wondering. So thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. And Todd, I know we're working with the DNR on that. Is it possible to have somebody follow up with Dennis and Ann about what's going on and where we are?
Yeah, certainly. And,
Okay.
Lauren is
Thank you.
hitting prime on the project here and is aware of, and perhaps even can talk to some of those questions related to the next steps, which we'll be talking under business items number 1.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you guys for coming in tonight. Yeah.
So I have no other forms, but is there anybody online that would like to speak? If so, please raise your hand.
That's same to people who are participating online as attendees. Click raise hand if you'd like to participate in public comments.
All right. No other hands being raised? All right. Then we'll move past public comment onto consent agenda. Do we have anything that anybody would like pulled from consent agenda? Seeing nothing, do we have a move to approve?
Move approval. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item carries. There's a chair in here for the gentleman that's in the hallway, if you'd like. I think we do have an open chair. And not to make you come in if you don't want to come in. Next item on the agenda then is reports and announcements. First one is Sustainable Waunakee Ad Hoc Committee.
Okay, we met on February 3rd. Lori Whitman came, a volunteer in McFarland who is doing sorry about that. We met on February 3rd and Lori Whitman came, who's basically a one-man show volunteer from McFarland who's doing a styrofoam recycling program. So the Sustainable Waunakee Ad Hoc Committee is hoping that we will be able to build a friends group to work on a similar project in Waunakee, because styrofoam really fills up our landfills. We also communicated that we're very happy that the ad hoc committee is going to begin being a standing committee, which was something that we were hoping for. And we were happy that the board decided to go that direction. We discussed having a table at the Wellness and Energy Fair in March, which the Lions Club is doing. And then we also discussed topics that the standing committee could begin discussions with when they organized and begin in April. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Public Works Committee.
Okay, that one's me too. Public Works met February 5th, and all the items we discussed are on in the agenda packet. We discussed and awarded the 2026 Public Works project for West Third reconstruction. We discussed and awarded the 2026 Manchester and Danbury pavement rehabilitation project. We discussed and awarded the 2026 Rip Park pavement rehabilitation project. And we discussed and approved a Strand task order that will be in the packet. And so needless to say, we're going to have a very busy summer ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Library Board.
We went through our annual report that we send to Department of Public Instruction every year. We also did our annual audit of the activities and programs that the library offers. And we had initial discussions. We're going to be getting a large charitable gift to the library later this year. So we had some initial discussions on potential projects to do with some of that money.
Excellent. Thank you. Plant Commission.
Basically, we approved 4 different things. A shed for the middle school, and then the items that'll appear here under public hearings 2, 3, and 4.
Joint Plan Commission, I believe, was canceled and will be held
We did hold a meeting and they approved the SIP for the daycare project that will be discussed.
Thank you. Community Development Authority met. We made some grants underneath the Waunakee Housing Betterment Fund. We entertained some revisions in the rules for the Waunakee Housing Betterment Fund as we're working to make that program more inclusive and also up-to-date housing values. And then we met and had a meeting with the new executive director of Madison Area Community Land Trust, who will be inviting back to another meeting because several of us had to leave early for a meeting in Westport that night. Parks and Rec.
The Park Committee, we only discussed one item, which we just approved, the design and engineering for the Rip Park Boardwalk replacement, and EMS did not meet this month.
All right. Excellent. And any other committees, commissions, boards? Any other announcements?
Sure, I'll just say tomorrow is primary election. So thanks to our staff and volunteers, and hopefully get out and vote.
Absolutely. Any other announcements?
We attended the Blue Lakes Council for the Clear Lakes Alliance. And basically they provided an overview of the Clean Lakes Alliance. So it was more of an introductory meeting.
All
Looking
right.
forward to the next one.
All right. Excellent. And you also attended a Boy Scout meeting to help them earn their elections badge?
Yes, I attended a Boy Scout meeting, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a long time since I was Boy Scout.
There we go. All right. Any other announcements? Seeing none, let's move on to our presentation. We have a presentation and discussion on the 2026 Housing Affordability Report. And Lauren, thank you for swinging in and walking us through that.
Absolutely. So there is the 2026 Housing Affordability Report in your agenda packet. Unfortunately, the projector is not working, so I can't present slides. So I'm just going to have to talk at you a little bit here. So I'm just going to run through some highlights of the report, and then I think I'll turn it back over to Kristen. She has some additional information to share. So this report, it's prepared each year by the community development staff. It's actually required by state statute for us to prepare this. So this report is reporting on 2025 permit data. So it's kind of a snapshot of last year. So some statistics that the report talks about, 77% of all homeowners in Waunakee live in single unit homes, and 23% of all village households are renters. So we're maintaining that kind of 75-25 ratio in the village. For rentals, 32% of our rentals in the community are 3 or 4 bedrooms. 53% of renters are classified as family households. And another interesting stat on rentals, 33% of rental units contain at least one resident that's 65 years of age or older. So these rentals are not just, young families. We also are providing housing for older residents in the community as well. A big stat that I know Kristen highlighted at the chamber meeting last week, the DOA projects Waunakee's population to be 21,471 by 2040. So that translates to adding almost 8,000 households by 2040. And that means that the village would need to add approximately 159 units each year to keep up with that projected demand. And then just a snapshot of 2025 permits. We had 90 single-family home permits, 26 duplex permits, and 75 multifamily permits. And those were all in the Woodland Crest apartment over in Kilkenny Farms. And then I want to highlight affordability because that's really kind of a key focus of this report. The report shared that 18% of Waunakee households are cost burdened according to HUD, meaning that they pay 30% or more of their income towards housing costs. And then another stat they included was 71% of all households earning under 50% area median income are cost burdened in Waunakee. And that area median income is almost $130,000. So we have a fairly high AMI in Waunakee. And then one final comment I want to share, something that we actually had to calculate as part of this report was that the average value of resident land per acre in Waunakee is $518,299. So that is very expensive for land and kind of one of the major kind of obstacles that we're dealing with when we're talking about affordable housing and how we continue to improve the situation in Waunakee. The report discusses revising the zoning code to talk about minimum lot sizes, and that is something that community development staff is actually looking at currently. Dane County put together a really helpful guide on zoning recommendations, and so we're currently going through that and comparing that with our existing zoning code and trying to find some kind of easy first steps to improve our zoning code. After we do our comp plan, we're going to do a full zoning rewrite, but this is kind of our effort to at least start the conversation and maybe possibly bring some zoning code revisions to the village board in the future.
Thank you. And I have some context. Well, first, before I add some context, does anyone have any questions for Lauren? So all of this was in the report, but again, we don't have any slides today for our presentations. No, none. All right, then some context from a state perspective. From a presentation at WIDA and some of the other data that we've been looking at over the last year, Wisconsin is about 126,000 units short of the homes that we need to house the population that is there. So what that means in practical terms is that across the state, there is a housing shortage. I work at UW Extension, as a lot of you know, and nearly every community that my staff is working with is working on housing as an issue because of the shortage. That is creating a lot of ripple on effects. When demand is short and supply is high, of course, you're going to have an increase in prices that you wouldn't see if demand and supply were matched well. The median age of home buyers right now in the U.S. is 38. The median age in 2020 was 30. So we've seen a really sharp, very sudden increase in the median age of home buyers. And it's not that younger people don't want to buy homes, it's that younger people can't afford to buy homes, or the homes just simply aren't available. And that's true across not just Wisconsin, but across the nation. What does that mean? Right now, the price per square foot for construction nationally is $231. That if you've bought your house 30 or 40 years ago, or 10 or 20 years ago, like some of us, that's a pretty high number. We had a lot of pent-up demand from COVID that we still haven't met, and we're still behind after the recession in 2009 and 2010 for home building. One of the quotes that one of the things I've seen a number of people say across the industry is that we haven't built housing in large quantity since the 1980s. And when I think back to when feels to me like we were building houses in large quantity, I think of the 90s a lot, but it really is, we've never reached those levels that we did in the 1980s of building homes across the nation. Overall, some of the other things that are contributing to costs at a national level, transportation, there's a shortage of drivers. For semi trucks, that's increasing costs of transportation for building materials. We have a record high wages for people who are skilled laborers working on houses, and that's great if you're in the skilled trades. We we need those folks to make great salaries, so we attract new young people into the trades. Our average age of people in the skilled trades is older. It's in their 50s right now. So that shortage of workers and the high prices that they're able to demand for the labor, and again, that's an undeniably good thing, also affects the cost of houses. 1 in 4 skilled workers right now are over the age of 55. Construction costs have gone up by 41% since 2020, depending on how you model it. And that's driving increasingly complicated capital stacks for large multifamily projects. So whereas 5 or 6 years ago, or 10 or 20 years ago, you might have seen 1 or 2 major lenders get behind a project, now it's a lot of lenders getting in. That increased the complexity of housing. One of the statistics that one of the builders at WIDA conference earlier this fall said is that they saw an increase of $2,700 in increases for new requirements for the IEBC building codes. We see a lot of pressures that are impacting us as a community and us as a county that we really don't have a lot of control over. And that's affecting our housing prices. In addition to, it just shocks me that it's $518,000 an acre is the going rate right now. I wish I had an acre of land to sell. So that's where we're at. And I know we talk about this a lot. There are solutions out there. There isn't one big grand solution. Some of the things that we've done, like enacting the ADU ordinance, the going through the codes, can chip away at the issue. But until we see a big shift in these market conditions across the nation, we're not going to see a huge change in how housing is built or constructed or how affordable it is. So that's hard news. All right. What questions do we have or conversation that you guys have? We're all concerned about it. I've got 2 kids in their 20s who are like, we're never going to be able to afford a house. So, yeah. No one's got a solution? No? All right. Chris?
I mean, I'll speak to it. I don't know that I have a solution with it.
Mhm.
So this is a topic that we've had people come in and talk to our board,
Mhm.
saying that we need to have solutions for affordable housing. And ironically, it was just in the State Journal this last weekend about the market in Dane County, Madison specifically. I hear 518,000 an acre for land. Is that improved or is that just raw?
We analyzed assessed values of just the land. So we looked at, assessed values have the house, the improved land, and then the land itself, and we just looked at land values.
So I'm assuming that means improved land more so
Yes,
than
yeah.
just land.
Yep.
Okay. So that, and I look into Waunakee and I see, here 518 on a acre, a quarter of an acre. If you break that out, you're about 100 and I don't know what that is, 160,000,
yeah.
so 140,000, whatever that is, for a lot. And our lots are actually a little more expensive here in Waunakee than
Mhm.
that, at this point. So it's something that we can obviously consider. You brought up ADUs. That was one question I had is, did we have any ADU permits? I looked through and I didn't see ADU on here, but I see other things, but not that. So have we had any at this point?
Yes, we had 2 ADU permits in 2025.
Okay, great. Where does that fall under within this then? Is it-
It's not reported in that, I don't believe.
I would suggest we put that in for the future so we can see that on here as well.
Okay.
As we're going through. So land costs is one thing. You brought up building costs, cost of labor, going up, all those different factors are in there. I wish I could say I have a solution to this. We've been talking about this for a long time. We've been dealing with it with our housing groups, and looking at ways to help support it. I just think we're going to be challenged for years to come with this. You saw that interest rates were remaining low for people to buy and refinance their homes. If you didn't refinance your home several years ago, you probably had your head in the sand when rates were down in the 2s for that. So most people did that. And now I think you have that challenge of people not wanting to leave a rate that's in that area as well, causing another situation of demand. So how we pull that back. I don't know at this point to get the amount of houses available, other than to build our way out of it. The problem is building our way out of it right now, as we talked about the costs of building. So that would be my comments to what you're saying. And as I looked through the housing affordability report, looked at what's happening in Dane County as well as Madison, everybody's trying to find that solution at this point.
Yeah. Nyla.
I've been here since 1977, and beginning in the 80s, those of us who were fortunate enough to be here and have our homes started seeing housing prices jump, and they jumped rapidly. And the more decades that went past, the faster they jumped. I know that there was federal legislation that changed, that made it more difficult to get housing for workers and communities. I've been attending meetings since the 80s saying this, there needs to be more affordable housing. There aren't easy solutions, because if there was, I'm sure we'd have more affordable housing. Part of the concern for baby boomers is, I keep hearing from some people that baby boomers are staying in their homes and not moving so that younger couples can have those homes. Well, part of the issue with that, there isn't any place for a baby boomer to go that they can afford. They could sell their home, a ranch style home for $400,000 perhaps, and go buy a condominium and be in a little tiny condominium and perhaps have their snow and their mowing taken care of. But they would lose all that space. And for them, it's very hard to justify that. There aren't any easy solutions. Hopefully, if every community does little pieces here, we'll be able to get something accomplished. But it's like it's been stated already, until prices go down, and quite frankly, I don't see that happening. So I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Thank you. Other comments?
I totally agree that there are not easy solutions. As far as what we can do, I think that was already addressed when Lauren said, once the comp plan is done, we look at a zoning code rewrite. I think that's probably where we can have the quickest and I guess most useful kind of effect on it. But I also don't know that that's going to get anywhere near solving this.
Other comments? I mean, there are a couple of things that we are doing. So we are routinely taking advantage of the TIF extension allowed through law in order to harvest those dollars and put them into affordable housing. The Community Development Authority is currently investigating what a land trust or participation in the Madison Area Community Land Trust would look like. We don't have the ordinance codes rewritten yet, and I agree with you, definitely, that's one of the big things we do. But we routinely right now are permitting smaller footprint lots in order to encourage smaller homes to be developed. If you can't, if you can get a 1,200 square foot home on a lot, it's still cost per square foot is higher, but the overall cost of the home is going to be lower. And we've been really working towards that for the last year. It would be good to get that into code, so we have those types of development by right rather than through planned unit development. So we're working on it. If y'all have ideas, let us know. So, or anyone listening has ideas, let us know. All right.
Or land.
Or land, yes. So you want to sell to us for not 518 an acre. Wow. All right. Thank you guys for the discussion. Thank you all for listening. And any more on that issue? We will continue to revisit this. It is an important topic. Who are we if we are not a community that can provide homes for our people? So with that, on then to public hearing number 1. Public hearing, discuss and take action on the ordinance to rezone 1201 South Division Street to AP1 Airport District. And for the public hearing, you've received forms for people that want to speak on each issue. All right.
Yes, I did.
So do we have anybody, well, first presentation and then speaking or hearing? Go ahead, Lauren.
All right.
Yeah.
So this is a staff initiated request to rezone the airport property from C1 Commercial District to AP1 Airport District. This is the more appropriate zoning district for this land. And when that zoning designation was created, I think the intention was to rezone it and it just never happened. So really, this is more of a cleanup on our zoning code.
All right, do we have anybody that would like to speak on this issue? Action to take an ordinance to rezone 1201 South Division Street to AP1 Airport District.
Should we open the public hearing first?
Yes. Let's open the public hearing at 6:30 PM. Thank you very much, Carla.
Yep, and we
Getting ahead of
have
myself.
only one form, and it's from Dan Silvers at 112 Winston Way, Waunakee, registering in support.
Okay. And Dan does not wish to speak. No? All right. All right, great. Anyone else speaking on this issue? Anyone online? If you're online and you would like to speak on this issue, please raise your hand now. All right, none. All right, we'll close the public hearing at 6:31 PM. All right. And trustees, any discussion or thoughts on this?
I don't have a problem going commercial to airport, but what is there an advantage or disadvantage? You know, what are the benefits and what are the downfalls of doing this?
This is just a more appropriate zoning district for the use there, but there's really no change to the property owner. It'll be assessed the same. It'll just, when they want to add a building, they'll still have to go through the same process. It'll just be the correct zoning.
If you go to airport versus commercial, do you get federal aviation money, grants, anything like that? It doesn't,
Not that I'm aware of.
any of that kind of stuff?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Concerns, questions?
I'll move to approve the airport rezoning ordinance.
I'll
Second,
stick- Okay, go ahead.
either or.
All right. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next public hearing then is discuss and take action on a preliminary plat for Legacy Acres subdivision, 6506 State Highway 19 in the town of Springfield. Back to you, Lauren.
All right, I did print a copy of this for you all, so there's, the preliminary plat is at your spot there. So this is a preliminary plat that's in the town of Springfield. However, it's in the village's extraterritorial plat jurisdiction. So you do get to review this. The Plan Commission did review this at their meeting last week and did recommend approval. And so I'm just going to go over a couple items that were discussed at that meeting. So there were some concerns. You'll note in the packet that the fire department did provide a letter with concerns about the kind of dead ends in the development as well as the width of the streets. So we did have discussion at Plan Commission regarding that. A couple changes that the developer made to the plans, one being in the site plan that they included, they added additional pavement at Irwin's Way and Aggie Lane to improve the turning movement for fire trucks. And then additionally, they also provided draft deed restrictions that would restrict long-term parking of larger vehicles. So that will hopefully alleviate at least some issues with vehicles being in the way of fire trucks. And then Tim Seven, our planning consultant who is here, provided a memo as well reviewing this. He noted the steep slopes that are in this particular development. And the developer did provide an additional exhibit demonstrating slopes that are greater than 20% are restricted from development. And then lastly, I'll add the town of Springfield Plan Commission and Board did already approve this preliminary plat at their January 12th meeting.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. Let's open the public hearing for this item at 6:34 PM. Do we have anybody who would like to speak on this item?
I have a few cards. I have Randy Kolinsky at 501 Riverside Drive, DeForest, registered in support. I have Tim Roll at 3697
Manistee.
Thank you, Manistee Way, Town of Middleton, registered in support. And then Sam Aker at 9432 Brackberry Road in Black Earth, Town of Berry, registered in support. And two of them said they could speak if they needed.
All right. You're permitted to speak if you would like, but you're not required to.
Tim Rail of Groban Rail
Okay.
Development, managing the development for the Acre family, for Sam and his family. Sam has been working diligently on this for the last 6 years. He's tried to all avails to make connections to the west, and they have been exhausted. There is an MOU that was signed with the DOT with the village of Waunakee and the town of Springfield to allow the connection onto Highway 19. Part of this is the removal of then 3 driveways onto Highway 19. So the DOT is on board with it. We know that we've got still a list of things to go through after preliminary plat to get to final plat with access in, access out on that new roadway. It would be south, taking Kingsley Road north across Highway 19. We then want to name the road Irvin's Way going north and Aggie Lane going to the east, based off of mom and dad, dedication to mom and dad. This will be a well and septic neighborhood in the town of Springfield. We have worked with the village of Waunakee on the curvilinears on both the north and eastern edges. We've extended the streets to the plat to the parcel line to the north and to the parcel line to the east. We have also worked with Chief Adler on then widening the corner of Irvin's Way and Aggie Lane for fire and emergency access. So we have done everything that we can, and then working together with the town of Springfield as to their desires. The main thing, the first thing when we were at the town of Springfield for the preliminary plat approval, the first thing they put up, just like this, was what about this letter from the Waunakee Fire Chief? That's how the meeting started. So the issue in the letter is that the town of Springfield asphalt paved area is 22 feet. It's been 22 feet. Even if you drive out in the town of Springfield and you drive onto Enchanted Valley Lane, which we might look as what we would name as a minor collector, that is 22 feet of paved. The big difference between a town road and a city or village road is that there's also 3 feet of gravel on each side. So 6 plus 22 equals 28 feet. And then with the expansion of the corners, we relied on working here with the village and with the chief to give us the largest turning radius that they have. And so we widened the corners accordingly on the corner of Aggie and Irvin's Way. So we just had a long talk about housing. I have many comments on your report. I won't talk about that.
Okay, good, because we're in a hearing, public hearing right now for something else. But I feel like we might be getting into the portion of the presentation where we ask you questions rather than the
That's
public
fine.
hearing portion. So can I have you pause?
Yeah.
We'll take any other comments and then we'll come back to you since you're representing the developer, because we do want you to be able to answer questions and whatnot. Do we have any, thank you though, very much. Do we have any other public hearing comments?
I have none for this subject, and I don't see any hands raised online.
All right, then we will close the public hearing at 6:39 PM. And trustees, what questions do you have? Go ahead, Nyla.
It sounds like you met my concerns that I had pertaining to the fire district. I wanted to make sure that you met all their criteria. And then my other, I just wanted to know that as far as the grades and the slopes, the concerns that Tim Samons had, if those concerns were ironed out.
They were noted on the new map that we submitted, that's in front of you with the sloped areas, and we're staying out of those from a production of a new construction home. We're out of them. As for the streets and the grades, they meet all the criteria of the town of Springfield. And if we can get this with the DOT and the DOT on board, we feel that we're meeting all criteria.
Okay, thank you.
All right, other comments or questions? Jack?
I guess a question, is this something that could potentially be annexed into Waunakee eventually?
I think Lauren, you weren't part of that discussion, Lauren. That was, what was it? Yeah, we talked about this, what, a year and a half ago, Sam? Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, Sam Aker. We did explore that with the village when we heard the Carls family was looking at annexation of their property, which is only one parcel away from ours. The Carlshires own the parcel in between us. We looked at what annexation could look like. We met with Strand right here, and they showed us the future vision of sewer lines going out. Well, the way our property falls, half of the lots would flow to the south, half to the north. Or you'd have to run a whole new sewer line all the way out along Highway 19, which is completely impractical. Plus fresh water, the height of the water tower is not enough to get water pressure up to the top of that hill. We would need a lift station. So it was really impractical. And then when you look at the slope, see, a lot of the lots are an acre and a half or more, and a chunk of those lots is on steeper slope that will be disallowed from building, as Tim mentioned. Anything over, even anything less than 20%. I mean, each lot's going to have a building permit approved, and the town is, they're going to restrict where the homes go. The nice thing is the upper part of that hill crests down where the road will be at the top, and then there's pretty nice sites to build the homes on very gently sloping areas. It'll be very easy to stay out of those very steep slopes with all of the lots and the homes.
Thank you.
All right, other questions? All right. Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the preliminary plot as presented.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Are you doing the condition upon the successful rezoning of the property?
Yes, conditioned.
That was in the
Go ahead,
recommended motion.
Jack, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Yeah,
Also is
page 96.
somebody else can make the
Yeah.
motion there quick.
I make the motion to approve Legacy Acres.
You guys already have it. I think the motion is just, whoever made the motion and seconded, do you agree that it's conditioned upon successful rezoning of the property?
All right.
And the person who seconded?
I did.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain?
All right, motion carries. Thank you for coming in tonight. Good to see this moving forward. All right, next one is a public hearing, discuss and take action on an ordinance to rezone 801 South Klein Drive and 2 Manor Drive to PUD Planned Unit Development District and General Development Plan.
All right. So this is the Waunakee Senior Living property. And so this is a public hearing for rezoning of both parcels that make up the campus to a planned unit development PUD. So since the Plan Commission and since the packet has gone out, our planning consultant, Tim, who's here to kind of walk you through, there have been some changes made because as he's reviewed it a little bit further, we've worked with the folks that are working with Trilogy on this project, and we wanted to make some additional revisions to the GDP. So I'm going to invite Tim to come up and kind of give you a rundown of that.
Developer, did you want to say anything before I speak or? Okay. So this proposal in your packet is on pages 119 through 170. And as Lauren mentioned, we've been working with the developer on some proposed changes specific to the way the permitted uses, conditional uses, and accessory uses are laid out. Again, as Lauren mentioned, there are currently two properties with two different zoning designations, R3 and R5, and their standards are different. So what our recommendation is, rather than trying to, I'll say, work around two different standards, is to really unify them into one. And for example, one of the proposals involves whittling back, I'll say, the uses from what are currently allowed in, for example, the R3 district to be more consistent with the village's comprehensive plan. So as an example, three of the conditional uses currently under R3, which one of the properties is zoned, is a farm, a golf course, or a landscape nursery or orchard. And so those things, I would say, from my perspective as a planner, aren't really consistent with what's called for as community residential use on that site. So those have been stripped away. So now you have not seen this other than this evening, I think. This is my memo. And so what's included on the last couple pages are the proposed verbiage, which relates to the permitted uses, conditional uses, and accessory uses, as well as the height and area requirements. And those are all laid out essentially as one standard for this overall site. Again, right now it consists of 2 lots, and I'll get to that in just a second. But the packet that Lauren passed out, which was prepared by the developer and delivered this afternoon, reflects these changes. I was able to review them, and they're consistent with what I have in my memo. So I would take that, and Jenny can speak to this, but I would interpret that as the developer being okay with our recommendations. Couple things, one additional thing though, I would say that's not in my memo and not in here. We hadn't talked about this before, but currently under section 133.12 of the Waunakee zoning code, a CUP is required for more than one principal structure. Since this right now has more than one principal structure, it seems reasonable to eliminate that necessity. So I would recommend adding that in addition to the text that's in here, that for multiple principal structures, a CUP is not needed. You'd still need, or whomever the owner of the property would be, they'd still need a site plan to go through the plan commission and so forth, but they wouldn't need that conditional use permit. That just seems a little overly burdensome in my opinion. So that's a suggested change. The other is, and as pointed out in my memo, is this would be conditioned upon the recording of a CSM that would combine the 2 lots. Right now, it's 2 lots, as Lauren mentioned. In speaking with the developer and the development team, their longer-term intention, and Jenny can speak to what that means if that's a few months from now, but is to combine both lots into one. So this would really function like a campus rather than 2 separate lots. So with those proposed changes, now granted, you've just seen these, they were just handed out this evening, but I think again, the purpose for that is to create a more unified, streamlined set of uses germane to that community residential use as stated in the comp plan for both the developer and future owners, as well as staff doing the review anytime any proposed changes come in. So with that, I'm available for questions. Lauren, if appropriate, if Jenny wants to speak to anything. So any questions of me at this point?
No questions for you. We've got to have the public hearing first, I think.
I'll be here.
And Jenny, did you want to speak before we go to public hearing?
So Trilogy Health Services has operated this campus for over 2 years now. They plan to be here for the long term. This is really set up ideally for them with the mix of the main building. It offers all these independent villas on the site as well. This is really ideal for the continuum of care that they want to have for their senior community. So I think combining this, as we're suggesting, into one lot and maintaining this and functioning just as one campus is really what they want for the long term. This is a significant investment into this building, into this site, to freshen up everything we see now and bring in areas, especially in the skilled nursing portions of the building, to meet more modern day use within there.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. And Tim, yeah.
One other thing, point of clarification, excuse me, and you all know this, but this is for the audience as well. This is the first step for plan development. This is the GDP granting of the entitlements. A specific implementation plan will also be needed to be reviewed by the plan commission. So that's the second step. And so when at that point, excuse me, point in time, the plans that are submitted, the site plans that are submitted will use this document, perhaps as revised, to be measured that SIP against those standards, the building elevation, materials, landscaping, utilities, et cetera. So.
Thank you. All right, let's open the public hearing at 6:50. Do we have anybody who would like to speak on this item for public hearing?
I do have one, Jebediah Darling at 707 South Klein Drive.
Right.
So, Tim, are you the property owner?
No, I'm consultant.
You're the consultant,
Jenny would be more.
developer? Okay, so I'm basically their next door neighbor, literally. We kind of share that fence right there. I live at 707 South Klein Drive. So I noticed a couple things in here. I guess my biggest thing is I saw nothing in there about redoing the fence that separates our properties. So there's one that runs through that grassy area where that transmission line is. It stops almost directly at my property line. And being the next door neighbor, it's like basically living next to somebody who has a party 7 days a week because there's always people outside there. There's a lot of traffic in and out there. And it drives my dogs nuts. But yeah, I didn't see anything in here about refurbishing that fence or getting it to at least extend so our properties are a little more separated, and I was wondering if there was any plans on that. I also have a question on it says that there's a sidewalk going in. Do you know, is that gonna be between my property and is that gonna be where that transmission line is? So there's a sidewalk that's going in there. And any thoughts on the fence? Is that gonna get redone or extended?
So,
Whoa.
yeah, one of the things is this is the moment where we set the rules for what they will eventually bring to us
Okay.
for a plan. So I don't.
Yeah,
know
I've
if
never
they
been
have
to
a
one of
plan
these
yet.
before,
Yeah.
so.
No, that's perfectly fine. And I've got your concerns. Do you have any other concerns you'd like to address the board about this? I have concerns about fencing, about sidewalk, which when they get to the next stage, we'll be sure to ask about.
Uh,
Yeah. Yes, yes. But I'm sorry, I can't permit you to speak until, yeah.
okay. Yeah, so, well, I guess those are my two major concerns for now. I guess too, with the construction that's gonna be there, it's gonna be even more traffic in and out, lots of people. I'm hoping that there could be some sort of temporary barrier between our properties.
When we get to the specific implementation plan stage, which is when they bring back the construction, I'll be sure to have these on file and ask them about those questions. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for coming to the public hearing though, and for participating. That's why we've got it. Yep. Great. All right. With that, any more comments?
I have no other forms and I don't see any. Oh, I do see one hand raised.
All right.
Lynn, if you would like to unmute yourself and state your name and your address for the record.
Hi, I am Shyla Lynn Pesmer. I'm at 706 Country Air Court. And I just wanted to say that I echo Jebediah's concerns. I understand also this isn't the forum for this to get into specific questions. But my question was, are there going to be some sort of is there going to be something sent out to the neighboring properties for the next steps once we get there, for us to be able to either join online or come in for a meeting in person to talk with the developer, specifically about our questions about the fence, about noise concerns and whatnot?
So we will be putting public notices in the paper, as we do with all of our meetings. And I think we could probably arrange to have some information sent to neighbors. Is that permissible?
I could share that the specific implementation plan will be going to Plan Commission on March 9th at 6 o'clock.
Okay, so March 9th is the key date. So if we're concerned about the specific things, we should make it a point to attend.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you're right.
All
Sorry, 5:30.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments on this item for public hearing? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing at 6:55 PM. And trustees, what questions do we have? Any? None? All right.
I guess I have a question, which is, if you approve this tonight,
Mhm.
it sounds like you're not approving the GDP that's in the packet. You have a new GDP.
Sounds like we do have a new GDP.
Correct.
Yes, and
And you can certainly approve it tonight if you want, if you feel like you need more time with it, seeing that you got it now.
Mhm.
You always have the ability to say, I need more time with it and have it brought back for your next meeting. I just want to make sure that you know that you have that discretion and if you do approve it tonight, it's not with the one that's in the packet, it's the one that's before you, sitting before you as a hard copy.
So thoughts on that?
I
Joe?
want to clarify specifically with Tim. The comments that you made, are all of those in here or are there additional items in beyond what we have right here?
No, so what you see in my memo does appear in their revised GDP in terms, again, of the building height and so forth, permitted accessory and conditional uses. They're not in exactly the same form because they had called out some of the changes, which is part of the submittal requirements. But yes, they're all in there.
Okay, so we wouldn't have to have a motion that includes anything additional.
The only thing I would say is the item I recommended regarding the elimination of the need for a CUP for more than one principal structure. That's not in here.
Okay.
Okay. Other comments or questions?
I have one.
Yes.
With this, I'm usually not comfortable when I get papers handed in front of me right before a meeting to make a decision. Is there a time frame right now that's going to this could cause a problem for that you have with contractors, so on and so forth, potentially?
Well, I mean, my understanding is the proposed motion is that this wouldn't become effective until the certified survey map is
Mhm.
provided to the village and approved by the village. So I can't imagine that there's any problem because you don't have that CSM now.
Lauren?
Yep, I'll
Yeah.
add that, yeah, I think this can definitely come back to the next village board meeting. The only reason we kept it with such short notice is because of the public hearing that was already scheduled. So I wanted to make sure we kept that. But absolutely, we can make those changes, more formalized for your next meeting.
And Brian, do we need another public hearing?
No, you would not.
Item, okay, all right. Okay, I would prefer we'd wait if that's all right. I am, trying to read this as listening to everything that's going on and I'm not sure that I'm getting everything that I should be getting. So other thoughts? All right. Okay. Good. Thank you guys for
I-
coming. I appreciate it. And neighbors, I appreciate you coming and making the comments as well. So we will see you guys at the next board meeting for approval.
Chris just asked a question if you need a motion. You don't need a motion. I think from staff's perspective, it's our understanding that essentially the GDP that was in the packet, you want that updated consistent with what you have before you today, along with the additional issue regarding that Tim had identified regarding the CUP, and that's what would come back to you for your next meeting.
Great, thank you. Yeah. All right, where are we in the agenda? We are now on public hearing and discuss and take action on a certified survey map application on Simon Crestway.
Kristen, I'll also be abstaining in this one.
All right.
All right. So this is a CSM in the Kilkenny Farms commercial development area. It's splitting one lot into two lots. And these two lots would conform with the current zoning. There's one caveat that we want to add with this item. In speaking with Attorney Kleinmeyer, we have allowed, as part of the SIP process, allowed a fence inside the sanitary easement. And we'd ask that as part of your motion to approve this CSM, that you would approve it contingent upon Brian, help me with the language there.
Sure, approve it contingent upon a sanitary sewer easement approved by Lauren and me that would be recorded on the property. Because essentially what that's going to do, similar to the ordinance change that you have discussed, it's going to allow some facilities to be put into the easement area with no liability for the village or Waunakee Utilities if we actually need to go into that utility easement area and then do some work.
All right. Okay. So any other information we should be considering? No? Let's open up the public hearing at 7:01 PM. Do we have anybody that would like to speak on an action for a certified survey map application on Simon Crestway? Do we have anyone online?
We have people online, but no hands raised.
All right. Wait another second. Last call. Let's close the public hearing at 7:01 PM then. All right, questions, comments, trustees? Yeah,
Are these commercial buildings that go in there then, or is this residential?
Yep, this is commercial. Yep.
and it is a daycare?
Yeah, the southern lot will be a daycare.
Other comments? Questions? No, seeing none, do we have a motion?
Do you want me to? So I'm looking at page 172 of the packet. It says motion to approve the proposed CSM. All I would add to that is subject to final review and approval by the assistant village administrator and village attorney of a sanitary sewer easement.
I'll make that motion.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Abstention.
All right, motion carries. Thank you all for public hearings. Item number 1, then under business item, discuss and take action on selecting a qualified environmental professional, QEP, to coordinate the Waunakee Brownfield Cleanup Project. To you, Lauren.
All right, me again. So back in May of 2025, the village was awarded an $836,000 EPA Brownfield Cleanup Grant for the Waunakee site. That's located at 205 South Klein Drive. So in October of last year, we finally got our official approvals from EPA to proceed with the project. Shortly after that, we worked on putting together an RFQP, so a request for qualifications and proposals to hire a qualified environmental professional, basically a consultant that can help us oversee and lead the project. Those proposals were due last month, and we received 4 proposals. Ayers, Cedar Corporation, Shannon Wilson, and Stantec. Our staff, we put together a kind of relevant team of staff members to review and score the proposals according to the scoring matrix in the RFQP. The top 2 scoring proposals were Ayers and Stantec, and that review team held an interview. Those interviews were actually held earlier this month. And that interview team selected Stantec to be the consultant for this project moving forward. The total budget is $339,480, and that would be covered entirely by the EPA grant. So once we officially select this consultant, the next steps would be, kicking off the project. And a key component of that project will be 3 public outreach sessions. So our consultant will be working closely with the village to hold 3 meetings to help get the information out to residents in the neighborhood on what's going on in that area and what the timeline for the project is. So that's something we'll be working closely with our consultant and also Kaylin, our communications manager, to make sure everyone's aware of what's going on for next steps.
All right. Thank you. So what questions do we have? Or comments? Sam? What do you think?
I guess the only thing I would say, and obviously we're not going to know the exact answer to this because we don't know the full scope, but how long, just as a ballpark, do we think cleaning this up might take?
The grant period is 4 years. So it is kind of a long process. Additionally, Stantec pitched as part of their proposal of doing some additional testing. So that might make that process a little bit longer, but they plan on applying for grants to help with that. But I would anticipate a 4-year plus process to get it fully clean. Now, the cleanup will probably happen in year 2, but then there's additional testing that has to happen after that cleanup before the site is actually closed.
Thank you.
Jack, any questions?
I guess it's 339,000. Are they actually doing the work? Microphone.
Your microphone, Jack.
This 339,000 plus, are they actually doing the work or just monitoring, basically?
Yeah, no, they won't do the actual work. There will be a subcontractor that does the actual cleanup work.
So the balance of this grant would go towards the subcontractor?
Correct.
All right, Nyla?
If I'm understanding correctly, Summit or somebody has done some type of testing. So my question is, do they work with whoever did that previous testing? Will these consultants look at that so that, I don't know what they need to do, but I just want to make sure that everything is pulled together to hopefully move things along, because it's been a long time that people haven't been able to use their properties or are living not knowing what they were drinking. And I think we really need some answers. So that's it.
Thank you, Nyla. I think the water that they're drinking comes from the.
A different well now, but
Yeah.
but at one time, they were drinking from that well.
And our results from that test indicated that we could have Tim Herlitzka provide us with some answers, but the chemicals that were present were detected at very minute levels and far below the standard that was a cause for concern. So just so we have that reassurance, yeah, the well was closed out of an abundance of caution. Joe, any questions?
It's done.
All right,
So,
Chris.
same as Joe.
All right, Erin.
Now it's green. In the proposal from Stantec, it says that the 3 public meetings will be in milestone part. So I'm interpreting that as later in the project, like years 2, 3. Do we think we should ask for something sooner to address some of the neighborhood concerns? I just don't want to say, let's wait
Yeah.
until the engagement is, updating that it's happening already. So.
Yeah, it's my understanding at least one will happen in the beginning, and they will also have to prepare a public participation plan, which I believe will come to this village board. So that'll be another opportunity to weigh in on how this has gone about in terms of public participation.
I'm really excited that we got this grant and are at this step of the process. I think getting to the source of this contamination is really important to stop the spreading of, and address these concerns. I also think if anyone in the community or, in the schools, this is a great, not obviously hands-on, we don't want students, but what a great example of the importance of environmental protections and just, listening to science and these sort of things. I think our library is a great example of the beauty that can come from these projects. So I'm just excited about that. But.
All right. So do we have a motion then?
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming. Sure, Ann. Yeah. Go ahead. We're out of order to do it, but it's you, Ann, so you can ask. Yeah, so. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's okay.
Now, what are you gonna do about this? We still have no answers. Would
We're-
you guys like to be in the RFP?
Yeah.
Right now?
We're
With
good.
this- With all the stuff we went through, 6 years of, what do you call it? 6 years of water we drank, garden planted the garden. Even the tree that we had there in the yard,
Yeah.
the leaves start, the limbs start, and the whole limbs started coming
Yeah.
out. I don't know if it had anything to do with that, but it was falling on neighbors' property.
Yeah.
So we had to cut the whole tree down. I don't know if it was anything that dealt with that.
Yeah, so
But
Anne?
here we sit for 2 years. They're
Yeah.
going, what
And-
gonna do?
Yeah, so what we've done is, once we were aware of the problem, we met with we are doing something. So we met with the owners of the property. We had the testing done. We applied for a grant with the DNR, through the DNR to the federal government. We got the money to clean it up. We interviewed companies that were qualified to clean up the environmental contamination that is happening. We are drilling another well, shut down the well that had the trace chemicals in it. So we're drilling another well, and today we approved a company to clean up the site. So it has taken, I acknowledge it has taken years to get to this point, and we all wish it would have been much quicker than this, but we've kind of moved as fast as we can. And once we had that grant from the federal government that allows us to clean it up, we moved as quickly as we could. But what we will do is I'll have some people follow up to make sure that you're kept informed of every step of the way. And if you would like, I can have Tim Herlitzka, who is our utilities manager, to call and talk to you about the water. Because the water that you're drinking is clean and it is safe. So, but we want to make sure that you're reassured about that. And with regards to planting the garden, this is the first that I've been aware of that, but we'll follow up with that as well. I want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with this. So thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
They did have cut down a tree back there.
Yeah.
And I was concerned, well, it's contaminated back there,
Yeah.
and the tree's contaminated, where are we gonna take it?
Yeah.
You know,
So-
contaminate somewhere else?
We can, I appreciate it very much. Yes. We will, if it's all right, we'll move on with the rest of the meeting and we'll make sure that somebody follows up with more information. Is that all right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm very sorry about that. We'll have somebody follow up. All right.
I think it's just a terrible mess. I mean, didn't get on it soon enough.
We got on it as soon as we found out about it. So, but
Then
yes, absolutely. We've communicated.
maybe
Yeah.
some other people should have been on it.
We have communicated with that. We do need to move on with the meeting though, and if it's all right, I will call you tomorrow and follow up, and we'll have staff follow up with you as well. Thank you for your concerns though, and for being here. We will make sure that it's taken care of. Yeah.
Even if we do, you come in and say they're gonna test it, how soon, we don't know. But they have to have the test before they can even come in and do anything.
Yeah.
And then when they do something, they find it, now what do you do?
We'll get it cleaned up. So, but as I said, we have to move on with the meeting, but I will make sure that we have somebody follow up, and I'll call you tomorrow about it if that's all right. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I'm about that.
Thank you for coming tonight. All right. And let's move on to our next item on the agenda then. And that would be business item number 2, discuss and take action on a resolution authorizing participation in preparation of intergovernmental agreement for the shared information technology support. I believe this is to you, Jared.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Give it a. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
We will call, that's all right. I'll call tomorrow. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. All right. Jared?
Yep, thank you. So I have a nice simple one here for you tonight. As you might recall, last fall when we renewed our our managed IT services contract with ITSG, we did so for a 2-year term to get us through 2027. And I had mentioned one of the reasons for a 2-year term was that we had kind of been exploring a very high level the possibility of entering an IT consortium with neighboring communities. After that contract was renewed, Todd and I had a number of conversations with some other communities, primarily DeForest, but a number of other communities which are all listed here. And come to find out, they were also already exploring a consortium and had partnered with UW-Madison and their University program to study the feasibility. They had found that it did appear to be feasible. And so where we left that, all the staff, is that we would go to our individual elected bodies and seek permission to have the staff draft an IGA for you guys to consider to create an IT consortium. That IGA would contemplate governance structure, funding, and like the RFP process and things like that to then come before you. So I just want to make very clear approval of this. There's no impact to the budget. There's no real cost to it other than, I'm sure we'll have to have Brian review, whatever our draft IGA is, but this does not bind you to adopting or joining a consortium. All this is doing is giving us staff permission to draft it. So that basically, the group of us, we thought it didn't make sense to bring in another consultant when we are perfectly capable of doing it at the staff level. So all we're doing is asking for permission for us to do that, and then we'll come back to you at a later date with the draft IGA.
All right. All right, thank you for that, Jared. Do we have questions on this item?
I just
Or
want a
comments?
clarification. I just want to clarify that this is IT management services that would be shared and not data.
When you say, can you clarify what you mean by the?
Information that pertains to the village of Waunakee specifically.
Okay, yeah, so thank you, yes, so, no, we would not be sharing data. This would basically be, these communities would come together and we would form this consortium, hypothetically, we'd form this consortium and we would find a service provider, kind of like, much like how we have one here for us, we would find one that would provide service to all six, sorry, I had to count real quick, all 6 of the member communities. So, part of this process, we'd have to make sure that whichever vendor, that is chosen has the capacity to do that. But they would basically just be providing the service and support to each member community. But no, it's not like we would be sharing the data that's on our server with DeForest or McFarland or anything like that.
Okay, one other question. Are there other models in the state that are doing something like this?
Yeah, so purely coincidentally, actually, I just saw most recently in I believe it was the League magazine, the North Shore suburb communities in Milwaukee, Bayside, and I want to say Shorewood, maybe, which is the Milwaukee, it's where UW Milwaukee is. And some other communities around there have actually done this exact thing. Just to clarify, we're not plagiarizing their idea. We thought of this concurrently. This is a semi-original thought. But yes, there is sort of a proof of concept already in the state.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Other comments, Jack?
Is there a state contract that provides these services that we could hitchhike on? Have you looked into that as
So
well?
I do not know that off the top of my head, but I believe there. I want to say I read in that article that there might have been. For some reason, that I have to be honest with you, that does sound familiar, but I can't tell you with 100% certainty that that's the case. But I mean, between state prices and frankly just having the purchasing power of 6 communities, I got to think we're going to get a pretty competitive price. But I can't tell you if there's something in the state contract for sure.
It would be nice to take a look at that as well, give yourself some alternatives.
Yeah, so actually you kind of bring up an interesting point here in that, so if this consortium is formed, tentatively the idea would be to hire 1, maybe 2 employees, and that person would be essentially like an IT director, and they would be tasked with, exploring that, because would be much more their realm than ours. So that would fall under that person to do that.
Other questions or comments? All right. Seeing none, do we have a motion?
As the resident IT guy, I will move to approve the resolution authorizing participation in the preparation of an IGA for shared IT services.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we are up to item number 3 under business items. Discuss and take action on negotiating a development agreement for the Heyday project at North Madison and Easy Street. And do we want a presentation on this first, statement second? Nope, straight to, okay.
Sure, just a little information on item number 3 there. In January, you all conditionally approved the annexation and annexation agreement for this property. That is conditioned upon Heyday acquiring the land. And they're doing the smart thing. They don't want to acquire the land until they get all of their zoning and land division and other approvals. And so consistent with that, we always have a development agreement or a public, development agreement / public improvements agreement that goes along with approval of a land division document. The majority of that document, the development agreement, when it comes to you, will be the standard language that you've always seen for all subdivisions. There are some unique characteristics related to this possible development that would require us to update certain terms and conditions within the document, and that's what we're hoping to discuss in closed session with you.
All right, thank you. All right, and let us do this, and then we will contemplate closed session for item number 4 as well. But first, let's do this one. The village board may convene in closed session as authorized by Wisconsin statute 19.5 1E for the purposes of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The village board may reconvene in open session and discuss and take action on the subject matter discussed in closed session. We have a motion to go into closed session for this item.
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Kristen Runge,
Yes.
Aaron Moran,
Yes.
Jack Heineman,
Yes.
Sam Kaufman.
Yes.
Nyla Fry.
Yes.
Chris Zellner,
Yes.
Joe Zitzelsberger.
Yes.
All right, and then let's contemplate number 4, discuss and take action on administrator review, compensation and benefit adjustments. This is our traditional meeting at which we do our standard review of the administrator. We have nothing to report in open session right now. So with that, I would like to make the village board may convene in closed session as authorized by Wisconsin statute 19.51C for the purposes of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. The village board may reconvene in open session and discuss and take action on the subject matter discussed in closed session. I'd like to move that we go into closed session to discuss and take action on the administrator review, compensation, and benefit adjustments.
Second.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Nyla Fry,
Yes.
Jack Heineman,
Yes.
Aaron Moran,
Yes.
Chris Zellner.
Yes.
Kristen Runge,
Yes.
Joe Zitzelsberger,
Yes.
Sam Kaufman.
Yes.
All right, and we will go into closed session at 7:23 once the room is cleared. Thank you all for coming tonight, for your information. And I have, Dennis and Ann, I have your contact information. I will call you tomorrow if that's all right. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate the participation and you coming in. No.